Welcome back to the channel, where we dive into the most epic and satisfying stories of revenge. Today, we're exploring the world of pro-revenge, when patience meets planning, and the results are legendary. Buckle up, because we've got 3 incredible tales for you. Let's get started. Contractor's comeuppance. Our first story comes from a homeowner who turned a scammer's scheme upside down. Lisa had saved for years to renovate her dream kitchen. She hired Paul, a highly recommended contractor, who came across as confident and reliable. He gave her a quote, took a hefty deposit, and promised to finish the project within 3 months. At first, things seemed fine, until Paul started showing up late, leaving early, and using cheap materials. One day, Lisa caught him reusing broken tiles that were supposed to be new. When she confronted him, Paul shrugged and claimed, "It's how the industry works." Then, Paul stopped coming altogether. Lisa was left with an unusable kitchen and unanswered calls. Frustrated but determined, Lisa started digging. She found that Paul was operating under multiple business names and had scammed several people. She reached out to these victims and gathered a mountain of evidence. But Lisa wasn't done. Using a fake email, she posed as a wealthy client needing a major renovation and lured Paul to a lavish property she borrowed from a friend. When Paul arrived, expecting a big payday, he was greeted by Lisa, a lawyer, and a local news crew. The footage went viral, and Lisa filed a lawsuit with others Paul had scammed. Paul's reputation was destroyed, his license revoked, and he was ordered to pay restitution. Lisa used the settlement to hire a trustworthy contractor to finish her kitchen. Talk about a satisfying takedown. Lisa got her dream kitchen, and justice. On to our next story, where a clever student gets back at a cheating ex. The exam ultimatum. This story is a reminder that you should never mess with someone who knows you better than you think. Jessica and Eric were the perfect couple, or so it seemed. Eric, charming and ambitious, had convinced Jessica to do most of his assignments, claiming he was too busy with extracurriculars. Jessica, in love, reluctantly agreed, hoping he'd eventually pull his weight. But one evening, Jessica saw Eric with another girl, laughing and holding hands. Heartbroken and furious, she decided to play along until she could exact her revenge. Jessica began helping Eric by subtly sabotaging his work. For his research paper, she included fake sources. For his math assignment, she inserted small, unnoticeable errors. Eric, as always, didn't bother checking her work and submitted everything without a second glance. When finals came, Jessica ensured Eric didn't have access to her notes. On exam day, Eric failed miserably, while Jessica aced it. To make things worse, Eric's earlier plagiarized assignments were flagged during a routine check, and he was called before an academic board. Jessica had gathered enough evidence of his manipulation to protect herself. Eric was expelled, while Jessica transferred to a prestigious university, free from his toxic influence. Jessica didn't just pass her exams, she passed a major life lesson. And now, for our final story, where a worker teaches his arrogant boss a lesson he'll never forget. The warehouse revolution. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply turning someone's own arrogance against them. Tom had worked at the warehouse for 5 years. He was reliable, efficient, and well liked by his coworkers. His new manager, Brad, was the complete opposite. Brad loved micromanaging, shouting orders, and blaming others for his mistakes. But his worst move was introducing a new, efficiency system that docked workers' pay for even minor errors. At first, everyone tried their best to adapt, but the system was flawed, and morale plummeted. Brad didn't care. Instead, he started bragging about how much money he was saving the company. Tom, however, wasn't about to let Brad ruin the workplace without consequences. Tom began quietly documenting every mistake Brad made. Whether it was sending out the wrong shipments, mismanaging inventory, or failing to follow safety protocols, Tom kept detailed records. To make sure his evidence was airtight, he used his phone to photograph mislabeled packages and incomplete logs, every mistake Brad ignored because he thought he was untouchable. When the quarterly audit arrived, Tom saw his chance. The auditors, a stern duo sent by the regional office, were thorough. Tom handed them a folder with timestamps, photos, and notes documenting Brad's incompetence. The auditors were shocked to see how much Brad's errors had cost the company, far more than any savings from his new system. By the end of the day, Brad was fired for gross negligence. Tom's evidence not only saved the warehouse but also earned him a promotion to team leader. With Brad gone, the efficiency system was scrapped, and the team finally regained their sense of pride and motivation. That's what I call poetic justice. Brad's power trip ended in disaster, while Tom rose above and saved the day. Revenge doesn't get more satisfying than that. That's it for today's episode of Epic Pro Revenge Stories. If you enjoyed these tales of well-planned payback, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing content. Have your own revenge story to share? Drop it in the comments below, and who knows, you might be featured in our next episode. Until next time, stay smart and stay strong.